Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. I'm currently stuck in Baltimore on my way back to Japan. I thought it'd be a good opportunity to answer some of the questions you guys had. Let's get started. So, right off the bat, what's the most awesome restaurant you've eaten at from Ryan to Clue? My favorite restaurant? Oh, it's so hard to narrow it down. I really like sushi. I'm really easy. Jin's is really good. Also, there's some really sick ramen spots, like Volcano Ramen is delicious. Those are probably my two favorite places to go. I might do a video on those if you guys are interested in seeing that. Also, he asked if those fluffy egg sandwiches are as good as they look. Those fluffy egg sandwiches are freaking delicious. I don't know what it is they put in there. The hard-boiled eggs they use are absolutely scrumptious. I love eating them. I eat them constantly. That's a good question. Is there a high demand for left-hand drive sports cars out there in Japan? No, you see some, but it's always like Porsches or Maseratis. A couple of the Lamborghinis out there, they're all left-hand drive, obviously. You don't see a whole high demand for them, but the higher end of things seem to be left-hand drive. But that's probably just because it's harder to get right-hand drive cars that are, supercars, other than the GTR and NSX. So, Jovan Amaya asks, how expensive is insurance for the GTR? So my insurance is actually really, really low. It's really practical. I think I only pay $1,000 a year for full coverage on my GTR. It goes by age and military rank, and I just happen to be old. So they assume I'm not going to drive fast, even though I do. So, but for me, the insurance is pretty affordable and cheap. However, the younger guys, the sportier the car, the more power it makes, all that stuff, obviously the higher the price is going to be. Ewan wants to know if I have dyno tuned my R33 and does it make it easy to mod my car in Japan. So I have not dynoed the car. We don't have any dynos on island. Roughly estimating horsepower at a bar boost with the setup I have, I'm probably running just shy of 400 horsepower. Nothing crazy, not a super fast car. It's quick, it's fun to drive, but yeah, being in Japan makes it really easy to mod because everywhere you look, people are selling parts for GTRs, RB26s. Parts are everywhere, they're readily available, they're abundant, and yeah, I've gotten lucky owning the car here and having all that stuff to buy from. So yes, it is definitely easy to buy parts to mod it while I'm here, especially Up Garage. It's like my favorite place to go. Thomas wants to know, how much do I think the R33 GTR will go for in the States when they're all legal? And could I see myself changing my car into could I see exchanging my car into an electric car if the fuel cost gets too high? So from what I'm seeing, it's probably going to top out around $60,000 for American for a top-of-the-line V-Spec R33 GTR. I don't know if my car would be ever worth that much. It's pretty nice and pretty clean, but I don't know if it's going to be. It's got 75,000 miles, 120,000 kilometers, so it's not a super low mileage car, but for what it is, it's solid, and I think it'll net a good price if I ever were to sell it. However, would I sell my car if gas got too expensive? Absolutely not. I already spent $80 to fill the whole tank up, and I think I would continue, even if it got double that to fill it up. I'd pay it. I would just have to drive the car less. Electric cars just don't do it for me. Half the fun of driving the car is the sounds it makes. So I don't think I could ever own a Tesla, unfortunately, until they fix that, because I need some vroom vrooms and psh psh. I need some turbo noises. Let's see. Andy Campbell wants to know if a lot of Japanese people speak English. In Okinawa, yes, it seems like there's so many Americans. The Japanese that have lived there for a long time, they speak English, and it makes me lazy. I didn't really have to learn Japanese to live there, which is unfortunate. I wish I would have made more of an effort to. I think it's respectful to their culture and to their country to make an effort. And I've learned some words and phrases, but not as much as I think I should have. And that's because so many people here speak English, and it's really easy to get by without learning Japanese. But that's a good question, Andy. Appreciate it. Let's see. We got Harrison Taylor asks, how long have I owned my Skyline? I bought my car in the December of 2017, so over 2.5 years now, and I've loved every minute of it. I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. I think it's a great car. It's exactly what I wanted. It's my dream car. I still sit in my driveway and stare at the car and just in awe of the fact that I'm lucky enough to own one, because I wanted one for so long. And when I picked it up for the first time, I was just blown away. I couldn't wait to get in it and start it, hear it, and after 2 years, I still feel the same way about it. It puts a smile on my face, and I still feel giddy, hitting full boost and things. So, yeah, it's amazing. I feel really lucky. On Instagram, Livin Oki Official asks, "What does a Japanese house look like?" So, I have an American-style Japanese house. It's an open floor plan, about 1,500 square feet. It is 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and it looks pretty Americanized. I have all American plugs, but there are variants to where they look more like Mr. Miyagi's house and the Karate Kid. He was from Okinawa, actually. So, would you guys actually be interested in seeing what Japanese houses look like? Maybe do a walk around my house, show you guys. If that's something you want to see, let me know in the comments. I'll absolutely do that. I just don't know if that's something you guys care about, so let me know. So, he also asks, what's the most Japanese that I've learned? He said maybe I should give a couple references or a couple examples of Japanese words I've learned about relating to cars. And one that I thought was really funny is turbo. So there's no Japanese word for turbo. They say turbo like we do, and I thought that was hilarious. But yes, I want to learn more, like I said before. Desert Wolf Nick Lindsay asks, what advice I have for someone that's going to move out to Japan without a college degree? Now, I don't know if there's legally any requirements that says you have to have a college degree. The biggest thing is obviously you want to save up and you want to have the funds that you need to live without a job or whatever it is. You have to be prepared for the worst. So if you're going to move to Japan, you make sure that you have money saved up, enough money saved up, and overestimate that, how much you need. That way it can actually get you by, just in case you hit hard times, because once you get out there, I don't know how you get back without money. So yeah, just make sure you're prepared. Let's see. Kason SX asks, what do Japanese people think about Germany? I've only talked to a couple of Japanese people about Germany at all, actually, and they're both car guys, and they love German cars, actually. I thought it was funny. They love their Beamers and their Audis and their Mercedes. I don't know what they think of that country itself, but they have a great respect for the automobiles they make, just like I do, just like we do. Everybody that watches the channel hopefully has respect for automobiles, and they seem to really like it, really like all the cars they produce. I've owned German cars and I love them, so they seem to feel the same way about that. Sylvie S15 asks, what made me choose an R33 versus all the other JDM cars, and what's my take on highway racing? So I chose an R33 GTR because it was the newest version of the GTR that was going to be legal to import when I left Japan. I've always liked the 33 more than the R32. I wanted the 34 the most, but I couldn't afford it, and it wasn't in my realm of getting one because they weren't going to be legal for another 3 years after I bought mine, or 4 years. So yeah, that's why I bought mine, and now that I did, I love it. I don't want to change it, nothing. I wouldn't give it up for the world. Maybe for a Honda NSX if I could find the right one. If somebody wanted to trade, maybe for an NSX, but that's only because I want to own one of those as well. And my take on highway racing, I can either confirm or deny that I love highway racing. Okay, I do love it. I can't confirm or deny that I've done it. But it is a blast, and if you guys are doing any racing, make sure you take it to the track if you can. But if all else fails and you have to race on the streets, just ensure there's nobody around. Speed cameras, don't want to get tickets or get your cars impounded. Also, and people's lives, don't put those at stake unnecessarily. But if you're gonna highway race, at least tag me in video so I can watch. Tommy Fitz, he has a super clean Soarer out there, big turbo Soarer. If he's still there when I get back to Japan, I want to feature it. It's super sick. You guys will love it. But he asked, why did I choose the 33 over 32? Mainly because the 33 was gonna be just barely legal when I imported it. It was cheaper to buy at the time. It's now more expensive than the 32s are, but it's bigger. So I'm not a small guy. The 33, I just feel more comfortable in it. The 32 feels a lot like an S13 inside. It's just really small. It's really cramped up, and the 33s look better to me. They handle. I mean, they're better cars. if you watch the Ultimate GTR video, I explain why the R33 should be able to carry the name Godzilla along with paying homage to the R32. But yeah, I chose the 33 just because it's bigger, it's newer, and it's better. So that's ultimately why I bought it. He also wants to know, why is the R33 BC in R33 instead of BNR like all the other ones? I don't know. If you guys can tell me why there's a C in my chassis code when all the other GTRs don't have a C, let me know, because I'm super confused. I read, and there was people giving like their ideas on what they thought the reasoning behind it was, and I don't know for sure. Nothing ever was definitive. But if you guys know why mine is BC and R33 instead of BN R33, let me know in the comments. I'm really curious, because that would really settle some questions for me. Elvis Jr. Teo asks, how much does living cost in Japan? So where we live in Okinawa, Japan, it is inflated. My car costs about $80 to fill up. It's like an 11-gallon tank. Gas is almost $6 a gallon. The housing, I pay almost $2,000 a month for my house in Japan. It's very expensive. It is inflated. Tokyo is the same way. Yeah, if you're used to living in the States, especially in like the Southeast, you better double or quadruple what it costs to live in Japan, because it's expensive. But it's worth it. It's amazing out there, and I think it's worth the price increase. So. And Matt Stroud asks, what's the reliability of it on my GTR? Because he's looking at R34 GTT. He says he knows a different motor, but he's just kind of curious of the older Nissans, how reliable they are. My car has been fantastic. I will take responsibility for both the clutch and the turbos that I blew. That was on me. Other than that, I haven't had any issues with the car. Knock on some wood. I haven't had any issues. I've driven the car hard for literally every second that I've owned it. I think that's what it's made for, and that's how it should be treated. So in my mind, everybody says that 2JZ is super, reliable, and the RB is not quite the same, or didn't quite meet the standard. I don't know how true that is, because I think my car, the RB26 that I have, has been super reliable, and I haven't had any issues other than stuff that I've caused. So take that what you will, and I'm sure people have their horror stories just like everybody, but from my experience, yeah, it's been good. Oki Kaiju asks, what is Soapy Land? I don't know. Are you trying to set me up for something? Because I don't know what that is. It sounds dirty, and it sounds something you're into. I know you like the tentacle stuff, huh? But yeah, I don't know, man. If you guys know what Soapy Land is, let me know in the comments, because I'm at a loss for words. I'm not sure. David ITR, he says, would you like to learn Japanese and stay in Japan forever? I would. If I had the opportunity to stay here forever, I would love to capture that and do it. I love the people are awesome, the food's great, the car scene is insane. Yes. Unfortunately, I have a family, and I can't think just for myself and be selfish. My wife wants to go back to the States, or Germany, or Europe possibly. So if it was up to me, yeah, we'd stay in Japan forever, and I'd learn Japanese, become fluent in things, but I have to take other people's things into account, so we have to go back to the States soon. But yes, Japan's amazing. I don't want to leave, ever. And GTR Zilla's World, what's my horsepower? Who on Okinawa has the fastest car? Or white plate or kanji? So my car is, like I said, basically stock N1 turbos, HKS, dump pipes, full exhaust, intake, blitz boost controller, split fire plugs, aftermarket cam gears. It's basically stock. It's nothing. I'm not running big turbos or anything like that. No cams or no stroker kit. So I'm only at 1 bar, probably about 400 horsepower. The fastest car on island. There's a few 1,000 horsepower cars. I know David, old Venom, one of the sickest, sexiest, cleanest R33 GTRs in the game, just hit the 1,000 horsepower mark in his beautiful car. I'm not sure who's fastest. I don't know if he's raced anybody, or if it's a kanji plate or white plate. But in my mind, I would assume it is a kanji plate. And if there's any cars that are trying to take on the crown of having the fastest white plate in Okinawa, reach out to me. I want to know. I want to ride in the car, and let's see if we can settle this, because that'd be a cool question to find the answer to. Rob Fox 11 asks, how is driving and shifting on the other side? What about the what about everyday translation, getting parts, getting it legal, being 1,000 miles away from family? Okay, I'll answer these one at a time. So, driving and shifting on the right side of the car, I thought was going to be really weird. It's really easy, actually. It feels really natural. It was easier to come from America to Japan and get used to it than it was to go from Japan back to America. I had more struggles going back to the States after I lived in Japan for a year than when I came here. So I think it's more natural to shift and drive on the right side of the car. Everyday translation, I get by pretty easily. Every once in a while I have to pull out the phone and do some Google translating. But overall, yeah, it's been really simple and really easy, and I haven't minded the little effort to go through it, the little effort to make things easier at all. So, getting parts. So, excuse me, haven't had beer in 7 months, so I'm really enjoying this one. So, getting parts. This is kind of a hit or miss thing. So, certain parts are cheaper from the States on eBay. It's really weird. My clutch was cheaper on eBay or actually I think I got mine from Enjuku Racing. It was cheaper for that. My turbo rebuild kit was cheaper from Australia than it was in Japan. My spark plug cover for my engine was cheaper from America than it was here in Japan. So overall, I mean, the internet's your best friend. If you can, find parts and just don't stop Googling, because you'll find the cheapest parts available somewhere or another, and it's definitely gonna be worth it. I've saved hundreds and hundreds of dollars buying from the States or Japan, whichever one had the better deal. Getting it legal. So my car is really easy to get legal. I paid Tony from AK Sport Auto to register and do all the JCI and stuff, so I didn't have to do anything. I didn't lift the finger. But to get in compliance, they do have a lot of stipulations and rules you have to follow, and it can get really stressful and really, really intricate. So be prepared for that. Being thousands of miles away from my family, that is rough. I do miss my family, and I go back as much as I can. But it's one of those things. This is once in a lifetime opportunity to live here in Japan, and didn't want to miss out on that and not be able to enjoy all the options and possibilities I have that I didn't want to miss out on that and not enjoy the chance to live in Japan by dwelling on stuff that I'm missing back home. But it is hard. Family, I miss them tremendously, especially during Christmas and the holidays, and it's hard to travel there or have them travel here, so it gets to be a pain. Trying to find food and drink that I like. Oh, I am really easy to please. I like everything. Basically, I haven't really found much in Japan that I don't like. I had a couple really weird sushis that are like filled with baby shrimp. I didn't like that one, but most of the stuff in Japan is pretty easy. If it looks too gross, I can't eat it. Like I saw a bunch of, I don't know what they were. It just doesn't look good. But there's a few things that I won't eat, but for the most part, yeah, I'm easy to please, and I like everything. All the food and drinks are good. So, car meets in Japan, mingling with the locals. So, I've learned one thing: regardless of where you're from, what country it is, if you're into cars, it's a universal language, and you can come over and just be like, oh, and look at a Japanese guy's, Ken Mary. As long as you say, oh, cool, he understands exactly how you feel about the car, and just nodding. And I have a lot of Japanese that come over to my car and they don't speak any English, but they'll give thumbs up, and mingling, they're so friendly. I can't stress that enough. The Japanese are amazing people, and I really like just experiencing their culture, and it's awesome that they let me do that. But yeah, the car meets are fantastic. Everybody gets along. They're very respectful. That's one thing I will say that the Japanese are way better in than Americans are, is respecting people's builds. Even if they don't like camber or slammed or Bosuzuko or drag cars, whatever it is, they still come over and admire the work and the effort that's put into it. So it really kind of makes you reevaluate when you go to the States. You're just like, man, why are people hating so much? Like, why? Like, I'm not a big fan of stance cars, but I like to think that I've learned from the Japanese to respect those builds and to give those builds credit and respect that they deserve. So the situation is awesome. I like mingling with the Japanese. It's fantastic. They love my car. I love their cars. It's a win-win. So, and guess who this is? I'm sure 888 Australia says, tell me about the girls. Well, Japanese girls, there are some very, very pretty ones. And I can't remember your Golden Rich, I believe your name was, from way back in the day. You pervert. But the chicks are really attractive. I mean, they're all, they're pretty Asian chicks. So if that's your thing, it's the place to be. Obama Prism asks, what's the cost of living there in Japan, and how good is the Max Coffee? So we covered the cost of living, it is expensive, but Max Coffee is fantastic. I've had a million of them probably, and they sell them in the vending machines, hot or cold, and I absolutely love it. So that's pretty awesome. That's a good question. No one's been really specific like that. So, Braden, okay, no. And Jack says, can I speak Japanese and where am I from originally? I cannot speak Japanese. I can say a few things. Hello, thank you, goodbye, how was your day, all that good stuff. And I'm from Pensacola, Florida originally. So I'm from an area that has a good car scene, but nothing like what I get to see in Japan. Josh Asaurus 422 asks, what is their driver's system? How does their driver's license system work? As an American, do you have to use the U.S. state-issued license, or do you have to have an international driver's license, or is there something that's military specific? So it's funny that you mentioned that. I'm not exactly sure on their ins and outs of the Japanese driver's license. From what I understand, it is more in depth than ours is, so they are a little bit better trained, and it costs a little bit more money for them to have a license. But from us, when we come to Japan, we have to have a valid driver's license, and then we get on top of that what's called a SOFA license. A SOFA license, which is a military license that essentially says you've been trained by the U.S. military to drive in Japan, and those standards meet some Japanese standards. So it's, you have to have both. Not an international won't work for me. If you were visiting Japan, you would have to have an international driver's license to rent a car or something, but that wouldn't work for me because I am military. So I have to have my SOFA license and my actual state license that is valid. Generation 1 Eclipse, Gen 1 Eclipse asks, how long have me and Jason been friends? So if you guys don't know, Jason, bing, from Cat 26, good friend of mine. We've been friends for a couple years now, I guess. I mean, since he had his R33 GTR in KN6, beautiful car. I know he misses it. I'm probably gonna put a picture of the car right here because just to bring up sad memories for him. But we've been friends for a couple years now. We hang out off camera a lot, and hopefully I'm trying to get back to Japan and beat him before he leaves so we can film a couple more videos together and also hang out because he's moving to Georgia soon. So I'm gonna be left here all alone in Japan by myself with nobody to look out for me. Thanks a lot, Jason. Thanks, Spencer. You guys left me hanging out to dry. Thanks, Marcus. All you guys left me hanging out to dry. Chan the Man Kamen. Chan Man the Can Man. That's hard to say. Chan Man the Cam Man asks, do you get more attention driving an R33 rather than 32s or 34s? So I get a lot of attention in my car. It stands out, being white with black hood really stands out. But most of my attention is from older Japanese dudes. So, that sounds so dirty. But most of my attention is from older Japanese dudes, and I'll be driving down the road and they'll be like, yeah, nice car. And I'm like, oh, thanks, sir. And like, giving each other respect. But I think 32s get appreciated in their own right, and 34s do, because 34s are really rare. There's only a few 34s that we see running around. I think there's only 4 or 5 that I think about regularly seeing in Japan. So I get a lot of attention just because it is a GTR, and I like to think it's a clean example of what a GTR should look like or could look like. It's not perfect, but it's for being a 25-year-old car, it's in pretty good shape. But I get it. Yeah, I think they all get their own amounts of attention. It's kind of hard to say which one is the people's favorite. I know I like the 34 just because of the rarity of it and the what the media did for the car overall. But yeah, so I enjoy the attention that I do get, and that is it. And Captain 26 asks, how big is your exhaust? Jason, you've seen it up close with your eyeball. No, it's you know that I got my little, I guess it's HKS dual dragger, so I think it's 2.5 inch pipes, but I'm getting the new big pipe for the Equal Lake front pipe and the new 5 Zig and Mega Fireball catback exhaust Really excited. Can't wait to put it on. If you guys are happy, excited, let me know because my car's too quiet. Oh, I can't wait. So, alright guys, that's gonna wrap up today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. I know it's probably a little bit boring, but I'm headed back to Japan. I'm in Baltimore right now, so I'm on the way there. I'm gonna give you guys a bunch more JDM content. But like, comment, as always. I'll see you next time.